Hi and welcome. If May 21, 2011 has any significance to you at all, then what you're about to hear just might knock your socks off. Certainly knocked mine off, and just trying to pass it on. So let's dig right in. This year is 2025, and we're talking about 2011, right? So the difference in the number of years, 14. If you break up those years into two segments of 7, you have 2012 through 2018. And then the second set would be 2019 to present here, 2025. Okay? If you think about these time frames here, from 2012 to 2018, it was the second term of Obama, and you know, he was in his stride. The economy was humming pretty good. He was in his stride. After Obama came Trump, and believe me, if you ask Trump how it was going, it was the best ever, right? The best ever. However, in 2019, things changed a whole lot. So, worldwide, things changed a whole lot because of COVID. And as if COVID wasn't bad enough, following up with COVID was Biden. So I'm going to go ahead and label these two sort of time frames. This one here with Obama and Trump here is going to be feast. And the one with COVID and Biden is going to be famine. When you see two sets of 7 and feast and famine, that should remind us of Pharaoh. Remember Pharaoh's dream? Remember Pharaoh's dream? Remember he had it twice. Remember he had it twice. So that's a little cliffhanger for later. So, in 2011, what had happened is we were blowing the trumpet. Okay? And what were we saying? We were saying the end of the church age. Remember? Okay, so after the end of the church age, that went hand in hand with um, wheat and tares. We were saying that, it was the end of the church age, but also that the separation of wheat and tares was happening in the church. We were saying that eventually in the church that the Holy Spirit would have to leave and that Satan would take his place in the church. And that's in 2 Thessalonians 2. Okay? And the date, by the way, not by the way, but the date played a very significant part of this. You see, when you blow a trumpet, you're like marshaling the troops together, like do do do, right? But when you blow that trumpet, you don't keep blowing it for 14 more years. You blow the trumpet, and then you stop blowing the trumpet. And we stopped blowing the trumpet on that date. Believe me, if we didn't have a date, we would have blown that trumpet for 14 years. Because we were that dedicated. I know it. I just know it. So, but we didn't. The date stopped us blowing the trumpet. So the date was very important. Okay, so one more point here is that this is one timeline. This is sort of the timeline of the world. This is the timeline of Egypt. This is what, But there's another timeline. There's another timeline of Jacob. And Jacob had to work 7 years for Leah. Right? Then he had to work another 7 years for Rachel. Right? And then he had to work another 6 years for his flocks. He got all the spotted and speckled sheep and goats. But he had to work another 6 years for it. And since we're lining up years with dates and stuff, we can calculate this. So it's just 2025 plus 6 years is 2031. Okay? 2031. And remember that, just want to say, when Jacob worked 7 years and 7 years and 6 years, after the 6 years, when he left that area going back to the promised land, he had to go through a major river. And I'll bet you he went on dry ground. So listen, guys, this will be part 1. I can't fit it all into one video here. Next, we'll get into Daniel, which proves all of this. So be sure to come back for part 2.